Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with Spellbinders and Fun Stampers Journey for their stamp of the month, and this is going to be for December 2019. This stamp set is absolutely adorable. So it is called Penguin Waddle. Now, penguins, we think of winter, of course, we think of holidays, but this is great for any time of the year. Just to give somebody a pickup, just to say happy birthday, or just to simply say I love you. So for these, I'm actually using paper from the Winter Wishes paper pad, and I'm going to set my images. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of do a double stamp. So I have these hillsides that I just cut out myself, no dies. I'm placing the sentiment and the image to know my placement of the image that I'm going to color. Now, when it comes to penguins, there's really not much to color. Black and white, it's pretty simple. So I'm using my Memento ink just to get the image down onto the cardstock, and I'm not moving the rubber stamp from my stamp positioner. I'm going to be using my alcohol markers, and I'm going to color the balloons. So I'm going in with my lightest color, and then I will come in with my darker color, just to give it some shading, even though these balloons are kind of on top of each other as well. Sometimes balloons, at least the original balloons, not the, I forget what they're called, those silver ones, where they Mylar, you know, you could see through them. So if you had another balloon behind it, you would see the balloon. It would just be a different shade in that area, again, because you're looking through it through another color. And that's what I'm kind of representing here. I'm using, again, the light color goes down first, and then I'm coming in with the darker color to blend that out. Now I'm going to come in with the blue shade, and then I'll come in with the darker shade over that. So again, there's not much to color on the penguins besides their beak, besides their little feet, and any other embellishments that we plan to give them. So to just use the Memento to get the image down is perfectly fine. When it comes to a stamp that's like this, where you've got that solidness coming off of that, I do like to use my VersaFine. For the hillside, I'm just grabbing a very pale color, and then I'm going to come in with my colorless blender to blend that out, just so that they stand out a little bit and it's not just white sitting up against the penguin. I'm going to place this card back into my stamp positioner, and because these are rubber stamps, we want to make sure that we remove the foam and anything else that we have in there. This is where I'm going to come in with my VersaFine. So I'm stamping right over that image again. And I'm going to be using my clear embossing powder. And I will heat set that, because now I'll have this shine for the penguin. And plus a more solider image. I just think the VersaFine does a beautiful job giving you a solid image, for the most part. So now I'm going to set the sentiment in place. I'm going to remove the penguin so that I don't do any double stamping there. And again, I'll use my VersaFine ink for that as well. I'm going to set my hills in place, and what I'm basically, I just want to see the penguin. I'm not worried about the little feet. Feet are in the snow. So I'm going to create this 2-layer hillside. Now these are, of course, are bigger, which is fine. They will be trimmed away, and I'll be able to use my cardstock that the penguin was stamped on, that card design panel. I'll be able to use that as the guide. So I'm just going to remove the release paper. The second hill will be propped up using some double-sided foam squares. And now we will just trim. And carefully clean the scissors. Yes. So that is our birthday card. Now what's nice is you can change up the color of those balloons and make it more masculine. I chose the cooler colors. If you use the warmer, you know, maybe that would help to create a masculine card. But I'm just using the layers of the pattern paper. And again, I think those colors are absolutely perfect. So the stamp set is extremely versatile and covers a lot when it comes to sentiments for all year round. Just because they're penguins doesn't mean we can't see them outside of December. I'm going to set this onto my standard A2 size panel. And that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and this will be a top folding card. Just going to add a little bit of gray in the penguin just to give him some shading as well. For our next card, well, the first one was for happy birthday. This one is to tell someone that you love them. So I'm going to use the double penguins. And I'm just playing around with the hills that I've cut myself. And again, that's just taking a scrap piece of paper and just cutting a wavy line. And you have simply the hillsides already set. I'm going to set my 2 little penguins in there. And again, the same thing. I'm going to come in with my memento and make sure that the areas that are going to be colored in with the memento are fully there. So I'm going to take care of the beaks. I'm going to take care of those hearts. I'm going to take care of the shading for the penguins. It looks really bad now, but you don't need to have a solid image at this point to do what I'm doing, because I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to put it back in my stamp positioner, and I'm going to use my VersaFine ink to get that crisp impression and dark impression. So I'm just coloring in the hearts. And then, of course, I had a smudge, so I'm going to make an attempt to erase it. If it doesn't go away, I'm good. Very good. Again, I'm going to come in with my pale blue, excuse me, for my hillsides. And then I'm going to come in with the colorless blender just to help blend that out a little bit more, to not have such a harsh line at the end of it. Again, the VersaFine's going to come in, and I always keep my fingers crossed that I'm right on target, and I am. I'm also going to add a bow, because one of them just needed a bow. So I'm going to come in with my clear embossing powder again. I'm going to heat set this, make sure it's completely melted, and then I'm going to real quick go in, put my sentiment in place as well. And again, I'm just going to have that come off on an angle above the hearts. And then our stamping is complete there. So, of course, we've got to color the bow. And I was really careful. I don't like to use my alcohol markers around the embossed areas. I don't like it to pick up that plastic. It could... I'm just nervous it's going to destroy the nib of the brush tip. It may or may not. It just, in my mind, it does. I've created some mats So I'm going to place the design area on top of this mat. And then again, the pattern papers are coming from Winter Wishes paper pad by Spellbinders. And again, another mat was created for that. Now, of course, I forgot to put my hillside, excuse me, on top of the panel that I colored. So that's okay. We can just make some marks, and then we can just trim it where we need to with our scissors or our paper trimmer. So you can see I keep doing a little bit of trimming. Yes. Because I don't want them covered. And again, I'm going to use some double-sided foam squares to prop this up. And I'll actually use the back hillside as my guide to cut that, so that then once I glue this down using my liquid adhesive, it's going to fit perfectly. I'm going to use also my liquid adhesive to set this down onto my standard A2 size card base. I'm going to score it at 5.5. So this will be a 4 1/4 by 5.5 standard A2 size card, and it will be a side folding card. I did turn it into a landscape. And that is our second card. So these were our two projects that we made using the Spellbinders Fun Stampers Journey Stamp of the Month kit for December 2019. All the products that I used will be listed down below, along with Spellbinders blog, inspiration gallery, their shop, of course, just to give you some ideas on maybe some other products that you have in your stash. Any questions or comments that you have, leave those down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I hope everyone's having a great day, enjoying the holiday season with your family and friends. But remember what's most important, always be creative.